should have enough fuel. I really hope that fuel estimate is correct. Medium tires should be alright. If I have to, I can switch. I can also switch to softs if I really need to. I mean, that's one of those things that I would definitely agree that Dawkins, particularly now, has become much more aggressive. Very, very, very aggressive. I mean, militaristic, I think, is a little too... I think militant is probably the best word for it. But he has become very just overt and aggressive about it, and that aspect I'm not too keen on. But I still think that book in particular has some absolutely fantastic stuff in it and raises some really great points. Wow, he really just flat out stopped all of a sudden. Like I said, that's definitely not a book for everybody by any means. That may have looked like I was self-punishing, but I actually had to slow it down there. There's just no grip offline. So it probably looked like I was trying to over self-punish. But really, I just wanted to keep it out of the wall.
Sorry, Steve.
Oh, come on, Fabio.
God, I'm having a crazy first lap here. Oh, man. Oh, that got real bad real quick. Gives me some free spots, though. Fabio Briatore. Every time I hear Fabio, that's the first person I think of. But I think his name is actually Flavio instead of Fabio. Flavio Briatore. The once lead of Renault's F1 team.
Enjoy the race, lads.
I know, see him.
Oh, somebody's mad. Oh, man. Oh, he is mad. Oh, there's probably gonna be some rage in the petition post. That's not the right word. What's it called? Starts with a P, right? When you're like angry with someone and you file a complaint thing. What do they call that for revs? It's the same thing in iRacing. I just can't think of the word all of a sudden. It's definitely not petition, but... right, Brussels. The thing is, it's a long race, so, I mean, I can understand people being, protest, thank you. Yeah, there's probably going to be a couple protests in the Revs forums after this one. But, particularly with such a long race around here, like, you really can afford to be quite a bit more friendly at the start than a lot of these people have been so far. Last race it was similar, where, like in the third corner, somebody just went way too hard into a corner and spun somebody and took like 2 or 3 people, well, not took them out, but caused enough damage to cause some issues. So I almost wonder if it wasn't the same person, considering that one guy said, "Come on, Fabio, that's the word, that's the name." 5 points to Gryffindor. Funny part is, I actually know that sort of phrase and terminology, but I only ever actually watched the first Harry Potter movie and I've never read the books. But because so many people know it and spread it all the time, I still know that idea. It's always crazy to me when popular culture things can get that large, that even people that aren't necessarily interested in that idea still know of it and know a lot about the lore and ideas around it. Well, at least I'm in the pack this time. Last time I would have been where that last orange arrow is. Just twiddling around at the back by myself. I'll at least have a shot at possibly racing some people here. Looks like most of my challenges are going to come from behind, though. I mean, the only exception would be if I'm not using my tires very much right now. But over braking like that will definitely burn them up a bit. This might be the first race where I just stop in my pit stall and don't do anything. Normally I at least take tires. But I definitely won't need fuel. We've still got 25 laps left and we've already done 3. So I'm definitely good on fuel. Now it's just if I use my tires too much. Yeah, as soon as I uttered those words, I was like, oh, that can be taken so many ways. Overcooking my braking points. Quite a few of these corners, which isn't smart. Not sure why I am either. Like, I practiced with full fuel. Now that might be a quit from that person. Oh no, it looks like they got themselves going again. Curbs in those S's are really not very nice. That one I can actually use to help turn the car though. I just have to be careful late in the race that I don't overuse it. It's really tempting too. Yeah, I'm losing a lot of time to the guys ahead. Oh man. When it just refuses to downshift, it's really frustrating. Race Room is the only game where I don't have issues with the downshift protection. The only game where the downshifts actually make sense to me. Most of the others I have to shift so slowly. It just feels off. Well, last stop was a 29. Ugh. That's gross. I feel like I'm keeping station from the guy behind though. Like I don't feel like I'm losing to him. The other thing is, I mean, being on medium tires and with a long event, there's every possibility that a lot of things will change pace-wise by the end of this, so it's one of those events that you can't really judge right away. Sort of have to see how the race evolves over time. I mean, obviously the guys up at the front will always be up at the front because they're going to be fast on new tires and on old tires. So it's just a matter of figuring out if a couple of the people around you are good. Like, if the guys behind me will be faster later, or if I'm going to be faster later. The answer is most emphatically probably a no for me. I will not be faster. more in tires. That's just usually not the case for me. But I definitely want to wait to take my pit stop as long as possible in this situation, because I'm just sort of out here on my own, so I can easily do my quickest possible laps in clean air. So in these sort of situations, I really want to be just trying to put in solid, consistent laps more than anything. I did not take that sequence very well. Oh, we only had 19 this time. We had like 23 last week. I guess we had at least one person who joined late and didn't get booking. Yeah, 28. I guess that is my race pace. That feels slower than the laps I was doing, but I wasn't really paying that much attention either when I was doing practice laps. Which I should have been to know if I was on my own pace or not. Yeah, I still tend to turn into Malmedy too quick. It's kind of a hard corner not to take early. By the way, in 2 weeks' time, we'll be doing those EGT cars from yesterday. We'll be doing those at Monza, which should be crazy. That should actually be a very good track for the Viper. So I can effectively run low downforce and just use the raw power that the engine should have. But that being said, Parabolica will be very, very tough to keep the car safe through. So I'll be doing a lot of practice next week in preparation for that. Possibly even this weekend starting. Yeah, I'll probably wait till next week to start on that. But either way, it should be a really fun event. Well, assuming craziness that happened last time doesn't happen. Losing your wing in the first corner is not very fun. My pace is definitely consistent, so is the guys behind me. Basically, the gap between the two of us is very, very steady. And unfortunately, the guys ahead are just pulling away. It seems like my position is where I'm probably going to end up. The tires are holding out real nicely too. I mean, we're only 6 laps or 5 laps in, but at this rate, I will definitely not have to change tires. When I do take my pit stop, it'll just be coming to a complete stop and then jumping back out. The other nice thing is because I'm able to hold my position with just sort of my regular pace here, I'm not having to push at all, which is very, very nice. Having to push throughout an entire race is very stressful. But mostly it means I can sort of save that run for the end if I really need it. I'd sort of just look after the tires for now. Which is a lot harder to do than I ever realized. Actually legitimately trying to save tires is really hard. And still go fast, I should say. Just flat out saving tires is easy, but doing that while still going very quickly is very, very hard. Some of the people in the R Factor 2 series are very, very, very good at it. Well, there was one guy after the race yesterday. There's one guy in the forums that was just immediately whining and complaining and moaning that it all comes down to tire saving every single time. And it's still funny to me because, like, there's alternate strategies. Like, if you really think it comes down to tire saving and you don't want to tire save, throw on softs and take 2 pit stops and just try and legitimately go faster. If you are as fast as those guys are on hards, then just throw on softs and try and go as quick as you can for 3 stints. And see if you can overcome that 30-ish second pit stop. And particularly if you don't take fuel on one of the pit stops, you just take tires, then that pit stop will only be about 25, 26 seconds. And then your fuel one will be about 40, 45. So if you think you can gain over a minute by just going as fast as you can, then by all means try it. But I mean, when even I'm able to run a 20-minute stint on super softs and be pretty consistent at the end of the race, then tires really aren't that bad. I mean, realistically, you probably don't even need to do hards if you want to go all the way. You'd probably do it on mediums. And if you did it on mediums, you'd probably need to tire save. But on hards, you probably don't need to save at all, honestly. You just drive flat out the whole time, basically. Well, not flat out, but you drive hard the whole time. But it's one of those things that I actually personally find interesting, again, because it offers different strategies. So if somebody is legitimately trying to tire save and losing 10% per lap, if you're gaining 30% per lap over that person, then you could potentially make an extra stop. But the other thing that tire saving, like if you really want to learn tire saving, particularly in R Factor 2, just toss on the softest compound you can find and try and make all of the tires wear evenly. Basically, all the tires wear as evenly as possible. And that will teach you a lot about what works and what doesn't to actually save those tires. And I think one of the biggest things people don't realize is that entry speed really rips a lot of wear off of your fronts, and exit speed rips a lot of wear off of your rears. So realistically, you have to alter your entry and exit speeds and actually try and carry the most speed through the center of the corner if you're trying to tire save. Which actually means for a lot of the fast drivers, they're having to drastically alter the way they drive because most of them go directly from brake to throttle. And most of them don't have any in between. But the funny thing is, if you watch, even in Formula 1, many of the drivers, particularly on tires they're trying to save and on early fuel, many of them will have large, considering it's Formula 1, gaps between when they finish applying the brake and when they start applying the throttle, where they're actually rolling through the center of many of the corners. And it's things like that that if you actually look and watch and see what the actual professional drivers are doing in real life, you can really apply a lot of that. Again, you can cheat some of that in games and really take extra advantage of situations. But if you truly want to do what they do and understand what they do, then you really have to try and just find those spots where you can look at that information. It's also one of the reasons that I really wish more racing series would do what IndyCar does and show you the actual brake percentage. Because that's literally the first time I realized what they actually meant when they said apply a bunch of brake and then ease off. Was the first time on a road course I was able to watch IndyCar and actually see a brake and throttle percentage meter. Well, it's one of those things. I mean, realistically, you can go towards the throttle before you know it's safe. I mean, when you're first learning, it's definitely don't touch the throttle until you absolutely know that you don't have to lift off again. That's sort of the idea. But what that really comes down to is you don't want to have to lift completely off the throttle. If you have to get a little bit out of the throttle to get it to hold on the edge, that's all right. Because there are situations where you might need to lift a little bit. But it is, as with most things, it's sort of that regular guiding line principle. Where it's a very good idea to start with. Very similar to slow in, fast out, where there's a lot of corners it obviously doesn't apply to, or it applies differently to, but it's a very good baseline to start with. But I mean, even like here, where if the car starts to spin, you can still put your foot into it right at the apex, but if the car starts to spin, you have to be willing to lift a little bit. The big thing for me is I just tend to make my setups really, really safe. And they're slower than they should be, but then I don't have to worry about spinning. I just drive like I drive. God, the gap in front is getting bigger and bigger each lap. But the gap behind me is really, really constant, so if I screw up on my pit stop, he will definitely be able to charge through. Hit the gas and spin, yeah. There's a lot of cars like that. This car on the default setup is like that. Like if you actually want to drive this SLS quickly on the default setup, you have to be very, very good with throttle management. Wait, you were spinning in the Formula Rookies? Really? That actually surprises me. Yeah, when the AI is running into you, it's not very fun. Were you doing outlaps where the tires were still cold? Because on those Formula Rookies, once the tires come up to temperature, they have quite a bit of grip, which actually makes them pretty fun to drive. Oh, Brussels, you haven't seen my livery for tonight yet, have you? I made a livery for tonight's World Racers race yesterday. Yeah, when the tires aren't cold, it's not super easy to spin those things. I mean, you still can out of some corners, obviously. I think you will be very pleasantly surprised by it. The roof, actually. It's been a long time since I've tried it in project cars. And I really wanted something different for GT3. Because the BMW Z4 is just insanely popular. The Aston Martin, I like the GTE, but it's not fast enough. And then again, the Bentley, I'm just kind of... I don't like the Bentley now that it's not a Bentley. It's supposed to be rubbish in the corners, fantastic in a straight line. Now it's just sort of mediocre everywhere, and I don't like that. I'm just kind of boycotting it in a sense. I mean, not like truly boycotting it, but just like, I don't really want to drive it anymore. So of those choices, that leaves me with the Audi and the roof. And I've just caught my eye when I was making a livery, so I was like, alright, we'll do that one. But the livery for it came out real cool. In sort of a basic idea, it's from the starting from the roof of the car. It's sort of a rising sun idea, but with black for that instead of red. But it looks really neat, I think, anyway. And this time I actually put both the Revs and the World Racers logos on it, and that actually really helped to bring it more to life. Basically, I need about 2 more, well, probably 1 more medium-sized sponsor logo, and then, or not even sponsor logo, 2 more medium-sized logos, 1 or 2, and probably about 4 really small logos that are either just text names or actual small logos, and I could probably fill out almost any car at that point and really make it good. But again, mostly I was just surprised how I was able to roll the blue in and how well that idea actually came together. I did not expect it to... When I first thought of the idea for the blue, I was like, that'll never work, and then I tried it on the side, I was like, oh, it actually works. Starting from the roof of the roof. Jokes. The funny thing is I didn't even hear that when I was saying it. How many laps? 11. We just finished 10. I could actually probably pit now and still come out in free track. Contemplating doing that. I kind of want to save the pit stop though, just in case I like ruin the tires or throw it into a wall. Hey, I just did a 227. For a race lap, that's not bad. I guess I do actually have aero damage that wouldn't be a terrible idea to fix. But it's definitely not like last week. Last week my aero damage made me so much slower. Which I didn't even realize until 3/4 through the race when I finally did my pit stop, fixed it, and then I was like, oh look, the car actually handles now. It actually drives like it's supposed to. Oh, come on, stick. Oof. Was not sure at all that the car would come back to me there. Pretty sure my gap is still the same behind. Check it here. Yeah, it is. 7 to 10 seconds. Ugh. I really kind of made my eyes unhappy here by not giving myself a little break between qualifying and the race. It's not as bad as normal. Normally, for whatever reason, in Assetto Corsa and R Factor 2 both, I usually have wine and snacks. The screen is usually really over bright in a lot of places. Which again, I've noticed, that's one of the things I've noticed with my Chatty app. I actually switched, it used to be white background with black text. I switched it to a black background with white text, and it's much nicer on my eyes now. So I think more than anything, it's just the really over brightness that you get from HDR, which in most games isn't that bad, but in racing games, because you're in a dark car looking out into the bright outside, it tends to over brighten everything almost all the time. And from what I can tell, I think that's the effect that most leads to my my vision issues. Crazy thing is I actually have the brightness on my screens down to 5. And I still get the situation quite often. I mean, one thing that also helps is if you have bright lights in and around the screen that are the same brightness as the screen, that will also potentially help. Nope, you didn't miss anything. Effectively, you just want to avoid the monitor itself being a light source, which is really hard to avoid because monitors are very bright. That's also one of the reasons that I always have light on even when it's daytime. Wow, I thought that was the S's. That was wild. Like in the back of my brain, suddenly I was like, why am I only in fourth? And I went down to third like normal and turned into that corner. It's like, I should have been in sixth gearing down for that. And then as I finished the corner, I was like, oh, that's not the S's. Ugh. This is preparing me for Friday, though. Friday, I'm going over to Tampa to support a friend's endeavor. He's got a short film that got accepted and is showing in the Tampa Film Festival. So, get to drive 2 hours there and 2 hours back. Yay! That won't be boring at all. God, I hate driving on highways. Most efficient way to get places, but the most boring way to get places. I might have to try and find an audiobook. That wouldn't be a bad idea. It should be fun though. It's my friend that I actually used to be business partners with before we had to cancel that endeavor for various reasons. But I actually haven't seen him in like a year, so it should be fun. He'll probably want to go see a movie, so that'll be fun also. It'll be a fun day. I hate driving for 2 hours with nothing interesting to do. Because of the timing, I'll be doing all the driving by myself, so that's why it'll be really blah. If that sort of driving, if you can split it in two with somebody else, it's not too bad. You just drive an hour, take like a 10-minute break, and then drive another hour. Yeah, private helicopter? I wish. That would be amazing. I've never even been in a helicopter. That would be... It always seems like that'd be a really fun thing to do, just because you have such an interesting view of everything from a helicopter. Very, very different view than from a plane. Yeah, right, Brussels. Oh, I've driven further than that before. I mean, when I moved down here, I don't know why I said we. When I moved down here from Indiana, I drove all the way. That was not a fun drive. I'm well versed in endurance driving. It is, again, it's one of those weird things. I really just don't enjoy it. Right, the royal way. But, yeah. Like I said, I didn't think about it until just now when I was talking to you guys about it, but I think an audiobook would be a good idea. I wish I could drive like this the whole time. That would legitimately make it fun, but I don't have anywhere near the amount of sway with policemen and money that it would take to pay all of those tickets. It's one of those things where I legitimately wish it'd be really nice if there were roads that were specifically for people who are very good at driving, where the speed limits were much, much more relaxed. But you sort of had to pass a set of tests every year to be able to be eligible to drive on them. It would make the commutes for a lot of people much, much faster. Oh yeah, driving from Indiana to Wisconsin. Ugh. Ugh. I just need to bring my sticky bombs. My sticky bombs, my rocket launcher. Make sure I upgrade my car with bulletproof tires. Hey, if I had as much money as you can earn in GTA, that wouldn't be an issue at all. Oh, that's actually new in Indiana since I've been there, or it was something I didn't know about, one or the other. That no speed limit when passing. Although on rural roads, that's always been true when it's just a 2-lane road. Like if you absolutely need to get by somebody, they'd rather you do it very, very quickly and go well over the speed limit, and then get by that person and then come back down to a safe speed. But I'm guessing, considering you said the left lane, I'm guessing you mean like 4-lane roads. That's smart though at the same time, because that's effectively the same idea as what they currently unofficially do for rural roads. Where again, they want you to pass other cars as quickly as possible, so you don't. Well, and it makes sense, because otherwise, if you're going the speed limit, the other person's going the speed limit, but you're going half a mile an hour faster, it's going to take you a decent bit of time to pass them, and if it's only a 2-lane road, then you're clogging the entire left lane for that duration. So being able to just quickly speed up, be ahead of the speed limit, and then jump back down once you get ahead of them is, I mean, that's how you want to pass cars anyway on an actual road. You want to make that passing maneuver as quickly and legally as possible. Right. What do you mean you haven't seen a car around me for 20 miles? There was one right back there. Oh, right, that was your car. Yeah, that's one of the biggest things that needs to start happening, is people that trundle along in the wrong lane. That's honestly, that's one thing that Indiana is, or at least when I lived there, was very, very good at, was the bulk of the drivers knew how the hell to drive, and they knew how to drive on 2-lane roads, and you didn't have people just sitting, for the most part, you didn't have people just sitting in the left-hand lane going, I'm going 10 miles below the speed limit, but I want to be in the left lane, because I'm turning in 500 miles. Which happens all the time in Florida, by the way. Now, it's entirely possible that's changed since I moved, but at least when I was growing up there, it was absolutely fantastic. Oh, so that's just around Indianapolis? Okay. That's fair. I mean, and again, I grew up and learned to drive in and around Indianapolis, so park at green lights. Yeah, that's a little frustrating. Undertaking. Oh, I don't doubt it, honestly. Dude, after the things I've seen drivers do in Florida, I don't doubt when anybody says anything about drivers being terrible and just how bad it is. I've seen people turn right from the left turn lane while the other direction had the green light. Not even kidding. I've seen that more than once. I don't discount the idiocy of anybody. Because every time I do, they surprise me by doing something even worse. Yeah, I usually give people about 2 seconds, and then I'll give a light honk of the horn. And then if they still don't move, it's full on until they start moving. pretty much the only time I use my horn in my car is at stoplights when people just don't go. The funny thing, Brussels, is that doubles as a fun little pun about the fact that most of the people that do that are old and need an undertaker anyway. But by that I mean most of the people that block the left lane. Oh, that's really dangerous to go super slow through the actual intersection. Because then the people behind you don't really know how to plan for their intersection, more or less. Like, they don't really know if, like, if you're in the situation where I should floor it because I can actually get through the intersection, or am I going to floor it and then have to stop halfway through because that guy's not moving, and then I'm going to be stuck in the intersection as the other light goes to green. I actually prefer that. If it starts snowing or raining and people slow down, I prefer that. In Florida, no joke, they speed up. It starts raining, people go faster. And the harder the rain, the faster they go. Like when it's raining so hard down here that you can't hardly see more than about 20 feet in front of you,
Thank you, Esther.
you will have people fly by you doing like 20 over the speed limit. It's some of the scariest crap I've ever driven in. And the annoying part is in Florida, you can't just sit and wait out the rain until it gets lighter, because it sits over where it is and dumps all in that one space. Yeah, I guess if it's just spitting, then that would be really annoying if people slowed down for that. I can't forget to take my pit stop. That would be funny. I just realized I'm technically in 7th right now. How am I in 7th? Are there that many people that have pitted or made mistakes or something? I think around lap 20 is when I'm going to pit. That guy's right on my booty now. I just saw the comment that you said where you come back and you lose it and start screaming. That's how I felt when after I was in Wisconsin for I was in Wisconsin to help my friend, the one I'm going to go see on Friday, to help him film a short. Not the short that's in the competition, but a different one. And it was so funny. After having been there for 3 weeks and then coming back to Florida, it was really hard not to just rage at everybody. To be like, learn how to drive. Oh. So I know that feeling. All too well. I really don't like people that peek out into Pujon, because I never know if they're actually going to go for it or not, and it's a terrible corner to try to go side by side. It's really not a corner that I like people aiming for. Now, considering the speed he had on the straightaway over me, he will probably get me here, particularly since I went real wide there. Oh, he was not going to give me any space, was he? Glad I backed out. By the way, you can definitely take Blanchimont side by side as long as the person on the inside gives space to the outside and the outside person
Thank you,
doesn't
man.
cut in like that. Badgers! Yeah, no, Brussels, if only I could turn that into being consistent and very fast while also talking. Because just flat out being consistent while talking isn't necessarily all that difficult. I'm not sure why, but being fast while also doing it is the part I have not yet mastered. Cheeseheads is what they call themselves if they're, actually, I guess it's just what they call themselves sometimes. I think Andy's actually the one I passed late in the race last time. He was having all sorts of issues. Or maybe he was the one that drove away from me when I was trying to pass somebody else. I don't remember. Oh, that downshift did not come in when I wanted it to. Oh. Yeah, I can't either. That's why I end up just talking anyway. I mean, if I concentrate 100%, I can probably pick up 10% on my pace, maybe, if I'm lucky. That just, I don't know, that never seems worth it to me. It's just not how I really enjoy racing all that much. And if I really did that consistently over and over again for 2 or 3 months, I'd probably legitimately pick up quite a bit of pace.
Thank you.
But I really don't like racing like that all that much. Oops. I just went ahead and really got out of it there since I went way wide. I wanted it to be very obvious that I was not taking an advantage out of going wide through Blanchimont. I mean, it's possible that that Badgers have something to do with it also. I just know the cheesehead is a thing also, because Wisconsin cheese.
Thank you,
Obviously.
Nathan.
No probs.
I mean, that's why at oh, excuse me. That's why around Road America there's the big cheese bridge. Oh, Brussels. Oh, lap 20. Okay, I should pit now. Again, I do not want to forget to do that. So I have to remember to come in at the end of this lap. Now, my tires are completely fine, so I don't need to... I definitely don't need to change those. You learned something. Yeah, I think it's University of Wisconsin at Milwaukee. I think is technically the name of that. My business partner actually taught there for many, many years. I think that's the name of that particular one. But I know exactly the school you're talking about. That school actually screwed him over hardcore. But that's a whole other story. Which on the bright side led to him eventually coming down to Full Sail, which is where I met him, so it ended up being good for me. Yeah, and that's like I said, that's why I think it's called the University of Wisconsin at Milwaukee, I think is the name of that particular one. Can't forget to pit, can't forget to pit. Oh, I almost hit that wall. That was so close. Oh wow, it starts your pit speed limiter all the way back there. UWM, yep. By the way, I really do love their pit box thing. It's a full big old cube. Now again, I'm not changing anything, I'm not even fixing any damage, so all I have to do for the revs rules is just stop in the box. Drive right back out. I do like the fact that it actually did clarify that though the first week, that you do at least have to come to a complete stop. You can't just drive through. Because that's probably what I would have done. Yeah, Milwaukee's not a bad city. I mean, being a Midwest city, it's very reminiscent of Indianapolis, where it spreads out instead of up. And if I ever have to live in a big city, that's the type of city I prefer. I don't like cities that go up. I like cities that go out. And part of that is just because I love looking at the sky, particularly night skies with stars. It's been many, many years since I've gone to Indy, so it's entirely possible it's changed. When I lived there, it wasn't bad though. Although realistically, the only thing to actually do
Thanks, Neil.
was just go to the mall. Although they do have Gen Con there every year now. Although possibly not for some issues. If they go up and out, then they're just massive cities like New York and Chicago, which, again, I still just don't like. There's nothing wrong with those, that's just definitely not my style. Oh, fair enough then. Everybody has their reasons for everything. It's all cool. The most annoying part though is right as Gen Con came to Indy was literally the last year, like the first year it was at Indianapolis was the last year I was going to be in Indianapolis. Like that was the year, the next year I moved to Florida. I was like, come on. It was so frustrating. Just like finally there's a gaming convention, a rather large one, in Indiana, let alone Indiana in Indianapolis, that was close enough that I could easily go to. And then I leave Indiana. It's like, no. But that being said, there's a couple conventions down here in Florida that I don't even bother going to, so I don't know how often I really would have bothered anyway. Hey, I'm still in the top 10. Aren't I? Yeah, I'm still in the top 10, baby. Hot diggity damn. See, this is sort of what I was hoping for from this week. This is really what I was hoping for from yesterday, but we all know how that went. But this is more like what I wanted, where it's a very sort of smooth, regular race, where I actually have a decent pace to not be all the way at the back, trundling around by myself. Unfortunately, I did end up in a gap of sorts, but at the same time, not too shabby at all. I'll be very happy with this result. Not sure if that's the leader, 2 cars behind me or not. I don't think it is. Oh, it is, okay. So I haven't even been lapped yet. Oh, yeah. Not usually something somebody's super proud of in a race, but with how fast the guys at the front are, I'll actually be pretty happy about that.
Thanks, Nathan.
I mean, I've still got 30 seconds and 4 laps, so he could catch me. It's very possible that he might still catch me. But I hope not. Yeah, I've never been to DC. It's a place that would be neat to visit once. Realistically, the largest city I've ever visited was probably Chicago. I hate Chicago. God, that city just... everything about it just felt dirty, looked dirty. Like, I didn't want to touch anything. I didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't want to be anywhere. I was just like, let's just leave. San Francisco was sort of similar, except once you got inside the buildings in San Francisco, it became much, much nicer. And the areas around San Francisco were still pretty nice. But it still had that same issue I have with most big cities. It's just everything looks and feels dirty. And ugh. The funny thing is I'm not even a clean freak, as you can tell from my bed that's always unmade. But I don't like that big dirty feel. It's ugh. And it's not even that everything has to be clean, it's just that everything is always like there's trash everywhere all the time. It's just, ugh. I can only imagine. Again, I'm sure there's cities that are much, much worse. Like, I'm sure Detroit is probably not in a very good state still. Right. Yeah, being in the subway anytime past like 11 p.m. is always going to be sketchy. No matter where you are, just a subway system. Although maybe that's not true. Maybe in European countries it's a little bit different. At least in the United States. Subway systems late at night are pretty much... Sometimes you don't have a choice, but if you have a choice, just pay a little bit for a taxi. Instead of having to get on the subway. Unless it's like the middle of the day, then you just have to deal with weird people who smell awful. And are crazy and yelling and doing weird stuff like that. At least you don't have to feel like you're gonna die during the middle of the day on the subway. Usually not, anyway. How many laps? 3 more laps. I don't know if I'll have enough pace to keep the leader behind me or not. I mean, I think the gap to the next person who's actually behind me is really, really big. Because they're not even the third person in that list on the top left. So I think I have more than enough time to be okay in that regard. I don't think I'm gonna lose 9th. Oh wait, I'm in 8th. How did I get in 8th? Had somebody else not pitted? I'm in 8th. Oh yeah, the guys that are behind me are just now entering Lake Home, so I've got plenty of time on them. So I can just sort of bring it home at this point. A top 10 finish. Oh yeah. Uh-oh. Whew. I don't know how that appeared to you guys, but that was a big old lag spike for me. Wow. That's such a scary corner for it too. I mean, the only other scarier corner would probably Eau Rouge, right as you're turning another direction. But no matter what corner, it's scary because you come out of the
Thank you.
lag spike and you have no idea what the reaction is going to be from the car. Oh, my lap times have definitely fallen off. Right, Brussels? It's like, yeah, top 10 finish. Oh god, lag spike. Everything's gonna end horribly. There, lost source is where I'm losing a lot of time. I need to not look at that, otherwise I'll just start doing hot laps and I'll throw away an 8th place finish. Should be a very, very poor choice. And I know I'm losing a little time through Eau Rouge now because I'm just tapping the brake. Just tap it in. Just tap it in. That movie's probably over 20 years old now, isn't it? It's so weird how ever-present that movie and Adam Sandler were at the time. And now, that phrase probably doesn't mean much to anybody. It's crazy how that sort of stuff changes. Go, car. That was close. That was close. That was so close. Oof. That outside curb in the middle of the Pujol is really, really slippery. Like it wants to murder you in your sleep slippery. Oh, do I have enough fuel? Okay, I do. I saw the fuel thing in the top left corner come on. You guys can't see that icon, unfortunately, but I saw that little fuel light come on and I was instantly like, but we're good. We still got 2.5 laps worth and only 1 lap to complete. I actually will finish on the lead lap. Because the leader is coming around to finish the race this time by, and he's right behind me. So I mean, if I really wanted to, I could let him by here, but I'd rather just do another lap. Oh, never mind, he's not actually that close. The relative was lying to me. So he'll be finishing the race right now. Right there, see? I still have 1 more lap to do. That also means my position is 100% safe as long as I just get it to the finish line. Because the cars behind are a lap down. So the 2 guys behind me on the map are coming around and they will have already finished their race when they hit start finish line here. So my position is completely safe. So that's awesome. An 8th place finish. More than halfway up the grid too. I mean, compare that with last time where I was like, what, 3rd from last? Not too shabby at all. I mean, realistically, a top 10 with any of these revs guys is nothing to shake a stick at. They're all so friggin' fast. And I think outside of that very first incident, I don't think I had any issues either. Like, I think I will have a tiny bit of damage on the front of the car from the first corner when I had to really slam on the brakes and just barely got into the back of somebody. But outside of that, I don't remember having any spins or offs even, for me is really rare. But again, I've come to the point where I just make my setups very, very safe, regardless of how fast it is. Because I found that with me, covering my inconsistency is better than covering my lack of speed. Or it's safer and tends to get better results than covering my lack of speed. What the hell was that noise? Is that a TeamSpeak thing? Such a weird noise. Like I recognize it from somewhere, I just don't know what it is. Oh, I might know where it's from. Nope, that's not where it's from. Was it TeamSpeak? No. Is that my phone? Yes. Ah, that's a steam noise. That's why I know that noise. It's a steam noise. Evidently something on my wish list is on sale. Yeah, just take me to the store. Why is it telling me about that at 5 p.m.? Well, it's a game I don't even care that much about. I don't think I do. Oh yeah, this one looked neat, but I haven't heard anything about it, so I just sort of tossed it on there. Valhalla Hills. Looked like a neat idea. Like I said, I just haven't done anything with it. There's still somebody racing? Like there can't be. I should have been the last car to finish. Tell me I can save the replay. Come on. I have to remember to do it this time. Hey, look at that. I knocked 4 seconds almost off of my fastest time.
Are we all finished?
Not yet, mate. 2 rounds.
Okay.
Oh, I thought everybody had finished. That's why I just went ahead and exited.
I ask, apologize, Mark.
2 runners.
Mark.
Oh. I kind of want to see what happened at the beginning there real quick. I'm going to go ahead and jump off TeamSpeak though. Well, I'm actually going to stay on this time and see if they actually say anything afterwards.
I have a massive crush with Andy Hart. I think I see that he have a massive lag.
Nice one, Steve. Right, congratulations, Ross. You were uncatchable.
I thought you were going to get me in that Camaro at the start because you were straight past Romano as well.
No, I wasn't. Romano had a slight turn in, and he clipped my rear end and ruined the aero. So I just that was it. Then I couldn't catch you.
Oh,
Yeah, well done, everyone.
Yeah, well done, Ross. Well done, guys.
Well done.
Mark,
Yeah, that's all right, Fabio.
a mistake. I'm sorry. It's,
That's okay. Let's not do it next race.
One moment. After I touch you, I want wait you for pass me, but I slow and big crash. I mistake. After I touch you, I go slow for.
He slowed down to try to let him back by, and then it caused a big accident.
The position, but in the last turn, big crash, and I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's forgotten.
Not forgotten by the guy that quit right away, though.
I've got to say, sorry for not saying thanks to everyone who let me pass. I just realised I completely forgot what my push to talk is, because I normally just use voice activation. So
Yeah.
thanks for letting me pass.
It's okay.
I'll say,
Yeah, thanks, guys.
I'll say thank you as well.
Oh.
Yeah, I couldn't lean over my wheel to press the button, so I thought I'll just not bother.
I don't mind.
Okay, good. It is on my car. That livery actually looks pretty good
Did I damage your car, Neil?
in
I
while
don't
racing.
think so, no.
I damaged my front end, mate.
Yeah,
Came out of Eau Rouge and just caught your rear.
yeah. I
And,
know, it was so slow through there, it was unbelievable.
All right, they're just gonna talk about random stuff in the race, so that's fine. I haven't actually looked at this this livery in a replay, or basically outside of the car yet. So it actually does look pretty nice from the side. I mean, again, it's basic, but without doing something super crazy, it's kind of tough to find something good with this car. So yeah, something crazy happened into this corner. I was a big beneficiary there. Just really curious what happened. Alright, so... it's really hard to see these things at the very bottom of the screen. Let's go with... probably chase cam will make the most sense. Now, where does it happen? Oh, what happened here? Oh, did he just spin through Lake Home? It's really easy, particularly on the first lap, to get throttle wrong there. Yeah. Spun it around. I think it happens back with these guys. I think this is Fabio's car, I think. He's either this one or that one. He drives the... Why is the... It's annoying that the... That is there. Can I turn that off? Okay, I can't turn that off. Hopefully I can turn it back on. Yeah, so he just pushed a little wide there. Oh, and then he slowed down to try to give him back. That was a bad choice. Oh, never mind. It was actually a perfectly fine choice. Somebody just completely rear-ended him. I was going to say it's a bad choice, but then I saw a bunch of people actually legitimately correctly going by him. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Oh, that's annoying. Not very good at messing with the thing yet. I think it might have been this car. It was definitely a car that had blue on it. Now let's just... No, these guys are ahead of it. What's behind them? Okay, so it's around this. It's somebody who can see that black Camaro. Maybe it's this guy? What is he doing? What is this guy doing? Okay, right here. Look, you see that super slow car. Get back to the left. He just like beelines for him. What? Oh, man. That's 100% this guy's fault. I mean, Fabio could have kept going. He could have just done his thing. But this is... I mean, look at the amount of time that he sees this car and has time to react appropriately. Get to the left, get to the left, get to the left. Like, not only is that not the right line into that corner, it's just silly. Wow. I want to see what happened. I think he got thrown into somebody else. Yeah. I mean, it sucks for the black Camaro there, but he had no control at that point. Wow. I actually feel bad for him. Like, that's 100% not his fault. He's going to feel like that's his fault. That's 100% not his fault. Good lord. God, the Mercedes looks good too. It's one of the other reasons I don't mind driving it. Just got such a neat stance and look to it. Here, let me go ahead and switch the title over. Boom.